Welcome to the Halftime Show, your world of sports in half the time. I'm Kiara Fry.
And I'm Colton Tobias.
And last night, Super Bowl 54 took place where the Kansas City Chiefs defeated the San Francisco 49ers 31-20 in Miami. So Colton, what do you think went wrong for the 49ers? They were leading earlier in the game, so what do you think the turning point of that game was?
Kiara, I want to ask you a question about this. When is Kyle Shanahan ever going to learn? Now, Kyle Shanahan was the offensive coordinator for the Atlanta Falcons when they made it to the Super Bowl in 2017, and we all know the story, blowing a 28-3 lead over Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. So the 49ers were up by 10 with under 10 minutes left to go, and the running game was so great for the 49ers, and Shanahan decided to go through the air, making the same mistakes that he did when he was in Atlanta. Their O-line was blocking phenomenally, and they get away from the run. And instead, they tried to pass it, and especially on a 3rd and 5, when the 49ers were up one possession, and they just decided, and Shanahan just said, hey, we're going to throw it instead of running the ball on a 3rd and 5, which they could have picked up easily to chew more clock.
I definitely agree. It was definitely a high-stakes point in the game for him to make that decision too. But it was a close game at first. There was a lot of back and forth. What do you think both teams did really well in the Super Bowl?
Well, I think with San Francisco, I think like I just said, I think they played the running game well. I mean, the Kittle was silenced a little bit. I mean, he had an offensive pass interference call, which I think should have been called. The officials made the right call there. So, but anyway, I think San Francisco did run the ball well because Kansas City hasn't been necessarily good on defense against the run. But I said before the Super Bowl, the Chiefs were going to win because Kansas City was going to make more plays, and I guess I was right. I mean, Patrick Mahomes just played phenomenal, like he always does. Even though it wasn't his best game, but he did win MVP. And I kind of wanted to shift gears here because we were talking. People have said that he didn't deserve the MVP, but I think he did. Did you think he deserved it?
I agree. Patrick Mahomes not only played pretty well in the Super Bowl despite the 2 interceptions, but he also has just had a phenomenal season and definitely deserves it. But that's all the time we have to talk about the big game. Coming up next, we'll be talking about college basketball as February is here and March Madness is only a month away. We'll be right back.
The United Student Government at Point Park University, working since the 1970s to solve the issues that matter to you. What concerns do you have about the university? Student life, safety, food service? Send us an email to studentconcerns@pointpark.edu or stop by our office on the 7th floor of the Student Center. You can also attend our weekly open meetings on Mondays at 3:15. Follow us on social media at USG_PPU for more. The United Student Government, by the students, for the students.
The Point Park Sports Network, bringing you live coverage of Pioneer Athletics on Stretch Internet, the home of the River States Conference and the NAIA. Subscribe today for complete access to the Point Park volleyball, baseball, basketball, and soccer teams. Watch live and on-demand broadcasts, and don't miss a minute of Point Park Athletics. Head to pointparksports.com/live for broadcast listings. The Point Park Sports Network, your streaming home for Point Park Athletics.
3, 2, 1.
Please visit our website. Please, it's a nice website. Please visit our website. Please.
If you have ever watched television, whether accidentally or on purpose, YouView is for you.
Welcome back to the Halftime Show. It's February, so we're only a month out from March Madness, and college basketball is halfway through their season. So we're going to talk a little bit about what we think the national championship might look like. So, Colton, who do you think is going to take it all?
I like the Kansas Jayhawks. The Jayhawks, I mean, they've had a good season. Like, they always have, Devin Datsun, who has played 13 games for the Jayhawks with a team high of with a team high average of 18.5 points, 4.4 assists, and 3.9 rebounds, and also 2.4 steals. And also they have been ranked in the top 5 all season. And it was kind of funny when I was looking this stuff up. They actually beat Texas Tech, which is the school Patrick Mahomes went to, and it's kind of funny because it's Kansas. So I thought that was funny. But Kansas does have losses though to 3 teams that are currently ranked, which include Duke, Villanova, and Baylor, who is number 1. But I think it's going to be an easy stretch for them. I mean, they just have their Big 12 games left, and they really don't have much competition, in my opinion, except they do play West Virginia, who is also ranked, and then they also have to go to Baylor as well. But I think they're going to make a long stretch down. I just think they're going to make a long stretch down the run, and they're going to try to avenge the second-round exit from last tournament. Kiera, who do you have?
I definitely think that Kansas is a good competitor, but I personally took Baylor. They're number 1 ranked overall, and I just can't disagree with that. They've been doing so well this season. They have a 19-1 record overall. They're 10-0 at home. Them playing at home is so powerful. There's just something about the energy there that they have when they're playing at home. They're also 8-0 in conference, and I don't think that they have that much competition. And they've really just been seeming to click as a team that I think when there is competition, they'll be able to play off of each other pretty well.
They don't have competition against the Big 12 where Kansas and West Virginia are?
Well, there's competition, but not so much so that I think that it'll push them back enough that they wouldn't be able to continue to compete as well as they are. I think those will be close games, but I think that Baylor has the potential to come out on top.
I was thinking that with Baylor as well, but here's the thing, we really haven't seen anything from the Baylor program in the last couple of years. It seems almost
that is true,
they're just a one-year wonder, and in Kansas has made the March Madness tournament every year since 1990. Kansas knows what to do. They know how to win those big games. And even though they have not won a national championship though in 12 years, I just think it's just been long overdue. I think they also kind of been living in the shadows of Villanova, Duke, and North Carolina. And it's like Kansas has always been there, but they just haven't found ways to win those big games. And I think they're going to do it this year.
So what do you think is different about the team this year versus those past years, or do you think it's more the level of competition that will allow them to win it all this year?
Well, I think it's the level of competition because the only competition that they have in the Big 12 is Baylor. And even though there are some out-of-conference teams that are going to be good as well, so I'm just excited to see, and even though they know how to play in those big games, knowing that they already have played Duke, Villanova, and Baylor, so I'm just excited to see what they are going to do, and I think we have and I think we're gonna have to leave things there for this block. And coming up, we have XFL Talk, the new football league, which is set to premiere next week. Don't go anywhere.
Go.
Go to our new website, uview.plainpark.edu.
Go, 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 go.
Join UView and find your herd.
Be like, join EOP. And 3, 2, join EOP.
I was just saying, grab them now, or else I can.
Yeah.
Join On Point with Politics. 3, 2, 1.
Join Pioneer Sideline.
Loneliest number that you'll ever do.
Welcome back to the halftime show. Now, the NFL season just wrapped up, but the XFL is just starting. Now, We have RJ Garrison joining us for this block to talk XFL. Now, this has been attempted before. The XFL is not a completely new thing, but it didn't work out. So what's different this time? Do you think the XFL is going to continue to be a thing this time around?
It's going to be an uphill battle for Mr. McMahon. And many people know that name because of his other company. But as you stated, it happened once before in 2001, I believe it was, and it only lasted one season. Obviously, fans didn't particularly care for that one, especially when they had the juggernauts to watch in the NFL, who we just saw celebrated Super Bowl. Vince is going to have to make things really well because his other company really has been pleasing the fans that it has, shutting down some of the favorite superstars in there. He's going to need to turn that around for the XFL if he wants this thing to work this time.
I want the XFL to succeed so bad. I have been so excited 2 years. Yeah, it was announced around this time 2 years ago, and I've just been so excited for it ever since. But I'm a little nervous on if it's going to work because the problem was in 2001 is they didn't get enough fan attendance. And that was the problem. And I'm afraid that it's going to happen again because we saw it in the other spring league that was attempted last season in the Alliance of American Football. They didn't even get through the season.
Yeah.
But I am excited, though, because there's going to be a lot of new, unique rules, including one of my favorites. So after you get a touchdown, there's no kicking. You have the option to either run a play on the 2-yard line, which will get you 1 point, the 5-yard line, which will get you 2 points, and the 10-yard line, which will get you 3 extra points. So a team really isn't down if you think about it.
That's very interesting. And I know that you were talking about a couple other rules. So what are a couple of the other big things about this league that you think is going to be important to its success or its downfall, and what makes it different from the NFL?
Well, Kira, I think the XFL and its commissioner, Oliver Luck, the father of Andrew Luck, they have focused a lot on player safety. And something that has been a controversy for the NFL is the kickoff and the punt returns, knowing that they have been a little dangerous during the past years. So in the XFL, the coverage team is going to line up on the 35-yard line, and the return team will be on the 30-yard line. Now, obviously, the kicker will kick it off to the kick returner, but nobody can run. They have to stay in their places until the returner gets it in, and then it's just fair game, which will open up the door for more plays, and knowing that they're not that far from each other, so it will be easier to block.
RJ, what is your reaction to these kinds of rules that the XFL plans on having?
The special rules that the XFL is going to be putting in place not only, I think, should increase the competition for all the teams in the league, but also maybe increase the scoring output, especially with on the kickoff returns and whatnot, not having people be allowed to go until the returner gets it. That should not only bring the ball up farther in the field, but who knows, we might see more kicks and punts returned for touchdowns, which will just increase points. Hopefully fans will get behind us. Michael and I really want to see this survive.
And another reason, RJ, is that they want coaches to second guess on it, to go for it instead of punting, because like you said, RJ, because the rules I set for the kickoff are going to be the same for the punting as well. So it's going to be easier for returners to maybe make a big play out of it. So that's something that they wanted to progress for the coaches.
Now, do you guys think that making it easier to score and more high-scoring games, do you think that's going to make the game more exciting and bring more fans in, or kind of turn people away from it? Because I know part of the thing that people enjoy about football is kind of the suspense and leading up to all of the drives and all of the plays that they have to do to get to the end zone. But at the same time, those big plays where there's one person running down the field for a 90-yard touchdown go viral. So what is your take on that?
I think it's going to be really exciting. I think that's what the average football fan wants today.
A lot of offense is exactly what fans want, and it's going to put more pressure on the defense to be better.
Now, a lot of the rules that you said have to do with the offense, but is there anything else that we need to know about the XFL before we go?
Overtimes are like a shootout in hockey. That's very exciting.
Yeah. Well, that's all the time we have here. Thanks for watching. I'm Kiara Fry.
And I'm Colton Tobias.
Thanks for watching the Halftime Show, your world of sports in half the time. We'll be back with another episode next week.